Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And I recently did a video on the Tavistock travesty where thousands of children were rushed through into gender reassignment surgery without any kind of examination from a consultant or specialist, from psychiatrists, psychologists, nothing. Some of them given puberty blockers with as little as one examination, simply turning up and a locum would sign them off and give them these powerful medications. It destroyed the lives of thousands, and now it looks like thousands will be suing. This could be the biggest legal case the NHS has ever had to defend in its history, and could lead to the biggest payout it's ever befallen. Good. We need to know who was responsible, who signed off, who is accountable. Heads need to roll, and this is the time for it to happen. Let's look at this article. Tavistock Transgender Clinic could face mass legal action from thousands of families of children who claim they were rushed into taking life-altering puberty blockers weeks after the NHS shut it down in the wake of a damning report. Unfortunately, the NHS have not shut it down. They have announced they're going to shut it down. It is currently still opening. It is still accepting children, and it is still sterilising children on an industrial scale. It's not actually due to close until 2023, and yet it's deemed so dangerous. So the NHS, who's still pushing children into what it recognises is a dangerous organisation, a dangerous clinic. It's no wonder the NHS are getting sued. They're still doing it, and they know the dangers. Thousands of young people were treated by Tavistock Centre in North London. Treated is such a strong word. Experimented upon would be a more accurate description. Many of them were prescribed powerful medications to delay the onset of adolescence. They had their future stolen. They had their adulthood stolen. They had their ability to have children stolen. They were sterilised. But now the NHS has ordered it to be shut down in the wake of a damning report. So the NHS knows it's dangerous and is still sending children there. Anyway, getting into the article. Former patients of the NHS's controversial gender identity clinic for children may now take legal action against it, and I hope they do. Thousands of young people were treated by the Tavistock Centre in North London, and in many cases were prescribed powerful medications to delay the onset of adolescence. But now the NHS has ordered it to be shut down in the wake of a damning report that found teenagers were suffering because they were being forced to wait for treatment. No, they were not suffering because they were forced to wait for treatment. They were suffering because they were rushed way too quickly into treatment without seeing a consultant, without seeing any kind of psychiatric or psychological testing. Children who weren't transgender, children who were grieving, children who were confused, children who were in some cases merely autistic. They got into that facility. The facility itself was paid £178 every time a child was registered. And so as a monopoly, they were making a lot of money. And when you only have a hammer, every problem's a nail. They weren't looking at these children to see what their problems were. They simply went, we've got a child, it's transgender, bang, down that line. Sterilise the child, it's fine. Oh, we don't know what's wrong with the child. We haven't examined the child. But we're just going to treat it as though it's transgender. Yes, of course we're going to destroy that child's life. But we don't care, because we have got Stonewall pushing us. Pushing. The trans lobby pushing us. And if we refuse or question anything, we're ists and phobes. And when people who work for us question anything, we fire them. We hush them up. We threaten them. This is true. This has come to light. That people working there, doctors, nurses, healthcare assistants, people who aren't involved in any kind of managerial but were administrative, they've all come forward. They've all said, this is wrong, this isn't right, there's some problems here. And they were hushed up, fired, got rid of, silenced. Because the Tavistock knew what it was doing. And now it's going to pay for those crimes against children. The expert carrying out the review also warned of potentially serious side effects of these medications, puberty blocking medications. Yeah, sterility for one, mental issues for another. The fact that 90% of children who go through this end up depressed, and that the, how can we put this, self-ending rate is about 8 to 9 times higher than the national average. That's what this clinic is doing. It's sterilising children and leading them to ending themselves at a far higher rate. But hey, they're getting £175 for every child, and they're looking good for the trans lobby, who have an agenda to push, and they push it hard against children. Dr. Hilary Cass told NHS England that there's no way of knowing if the medication may disrupt the process of children decided on their gender identity rather than buying time for them. She also raised concerns that the drugs could interrupt the process of the brain maturing, affecting children's ability to exercise judgment. Indeed, when you delay puberty, part of puberty is that growth of the brain, the mind, the ability to make judgments, the ability to have discretion, to understand at a deeper level. By delaying that, you are creating someone who is mentally subnormal. They are mentally not capable of acting as an adult. They will have a child's mind forever. And this is why the self-ending rate is so high. This is why depression is so high. This is why there are more problems with people who go through this particular treatment than just about any other cause. But that's why they don't want to do psychiatric and psychological testing, because a psychiatrist is legally bound to tell the children this. The children may change their mind, and they don't want that, because then the psychiatrist will be made out to be an hystenophobe. Far easier to keep your mouth shut and say nothing and just push the children through the sausage factory and turn out nice little gender changelings, make a profit. Never mind the children, never mind the children laying there later, no longer with us, the ex-children, because they couldn't handle what they'd done. And nobody stopped them. No foresight, no oversight, no safeguarding. Now, her findings raise the prospect that patients treated at Tavistock and their parents may sue the NHS for compensation. They could try to prove they were damaged by the medication, which staff at the centre are said to have claimed was fully reversible. There is no evidence of this. The patients may also claim they could not have given informed consent to take these medications, given the lack of knowledge about their long-term effects. A high-profile court case was previously brought against the Tavistock by Kira Bell, who transitioned after being prescribed puberty blockers but later regretted it because she wasn't transgender. Judges initially ruled that under-16s could not consent to the treatment, but the ruling was later overturned on appeal. James Essis, co-founder of Thoughtful Therapists, said, "I've been contacted by a number of detransitioners who are considering taking legal action. Already in the USA, there are class lawsuits being taken by parents of children prescribed puberty blockers, and it's only a matter of time until we see similar action here." He went on, "Gender dysphoria is a mental health condition. I've been saying this all along. This channel has always pushed that this is a mental issue, and it should be treated as such through explorative therapy rather than irreversible medication and surgery. Indeed, it's part of the DSM-4. Gender dysphoria is a mental condition, and you cannot treat mental disorders surgically. Far too many children," he said, "have been left with physical and emotional scars from decisions that they should never have been let to make." James McWhorter, president of the Association of Personal Injury Lawyers, said, "There is a potential for claims, but only in specific circumstances. A patient can only claim redress if he or she has been injured. The law does not require clinicians to provide exemplary standards of care. It only requires healthcare professionals to exercise reasonable standards of care and skill." Yes, but if those children are not being told, they're not given full disclosure, then that is not a reasonable standard of care. I think that there is a case here. They should explore it, they should push it, and they should win. And if I've got anything to do with it, and I was on that jury, I know which side I'd be coming down on. And then there's Kira Bell, who detransitioned and fought her court case. So, yeah, I mean, the Tavistock could be in big trouble if thousands go up. If they go up for a class action, and they go for, let's say, well, initially £1 million each to cover a life, you could be looking a lot of money. Could be £1 billion out of the NHS minimum, plus costs. And I do hope they go for it. I'd like to see it, because you need to send a message that you cannot destroy children simply for political aims, and that's all this is. It's to push the trans lobby's agenda. Anyway, I'm going to come up now because I've had enough on that one. Well, just to round off on that, the Tavistock has been appalling for years and years. And when Ireland knew about it 3, 4 years ago, they stopped sending children there. Other people have complained and said that it's wrong. But still, the NHS pushed children down this line. And so the NHS is going to have to pay. Quite right. But it'd be more interesting to see the names. Put the actual people in the dock, see their faces, put names to those faces, and let everyone know what these monsters have done. Good luck to them. I hope they go for it. If you like what you hear and see on the channel, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Ring the bell for notifications of future output. Leave a like, leave a comment, and until next time, stay safe, stay well, look after your children, and goodbye.